Hey YouTube, today I'll be showing you my Blue Eyes Bystial deck profile and combos post the Blue Eyes structure deck. There's a lot of different synergies between generic dragon stuff and of course Blue Eyes, and I've really been exploring this in a lot of detail and come up with some really interesting combos that are easy to pull off and using minimal bricks. So you can think of this as like Dragon Link but using Blue Eyes as an engine to enable that. And of course this is like where the Bystials come in as some of the most important dragon support that we've seen in years, and there's a lot of different synergies between using the lights, Blue Eyes cards and the Bystials, and we'll see how we can easily bridge these engines together to make really powerful combos. And of course there's going to be a much more budget friendly build compared to the Primite Blue Eyes, so you can decide for yourself if you think it's worth playing this over a Primite version, but I do think it is one of the best versions from my testing. So of course we start with the main deck. It's going to be 50 cards, but we have 3 Sage, 3 Maiden for our Blue Eyes monsters. For our Blue Eyes starters as well, we have 3 Wishes. So any of these will enable combos, and a very similar combo, so we're just maxing out on these. And push up to 50 cards, and actually playing Imperial Rice Map, which is of course going to search our Sage each time. And yeah, and so Blue Eyes kind of suffers from having too many bricky cards, and that's why I think it's worth playing this, and it's not really hurt me in testing. Like, sure, if you get like drolled, it could hurt a bit, but most of the time you can still get to Seal's Pass for this, and really not seeing the bricky cards, it's worth playing more starters to get to the Blue Eyes engine. And one other thing you can do is that even if you have Sage already in at hand, it's still worth using the Imperial Rice Map, because if they imperm the Sage, you can just make your Link 1 and then get an extra normal summon with the field spell, and then just summon your other Sage and combo from there. Next we have our Bystial package, which will be 3 Lubellion, the best one going first to open. We have 1 Magnum Hut, and we're actually just maxing out on the Bystials, so we've got 3 Saranir, 3 Druiswem, and 3 Baldrake, of course, to really increase the deck count and make sure that we can basically combo with even these Bystials, Baldrake and Druiswem, alongside any one of our Blue Eye starters. So that's what we're really looking for, any of these Bystials plus any of these Blue Eye starters, and then we're off to the races with our combo. And we play 1 Regained. Of course, it gives a lot of control aspect to the deck, playing Regained, which you don't typically... So of course we're not playing Primite. Primite's main toolbox is that it's a recurable engine. It gives you follow-up as well as a negate with Drill Beam. Regain offers like similar applications, because every turn you get to draw a card if you banish a Light or Dark, and it instates you from Nib by having a Bystial that you can revive when they Nibiru you. And onto the brickier cards, we have our really important Neo Kaiser Seahorse. This is going to be what bridges our Bystial engine with our Blue Eyes engine, and it's got some really important applications for making things like Disparter. As you'll see in the combos, there's a lot it does. It's really important that it can target Maiden and trigger Maiden as well in this build, which is something that other Blue Eyes builds aren't really doing. So even though it's the least powerful 1-card starter, Neo Kaiser Seahorse is definitely an important one of for this particular deck. We have of course a 1 Blue Eyes White Dragon. Another good thing about this build is that we can cut down to 1 Blue Eyes instead of 2, because in Primite it's really important that you have a normal monster in rotation, and this one less so. You can recur it from banished even if it does get banished by an opponent's Bystial, with things like with Disparter or Regained. And yeah, it hasn't really come up for me where this gets banished and I lose the game just on the spot from that, but I can definitely see how it's a choke point just playing 1 in Primite. And other bricky cards, we have Mausoleum, you never want to draw it. True Light, it's okay as like a discard, or it is combo after return of setting it, because you can discard it and then Maiden still, you can discard it and still get Maiden to set it from graveyard, or even from hand. Raw is not so bad to draw. Yeah, but it's not really a combo by itself, just summon to Blue Eyes. Ultimate Fusion, I've been testing, and I think that this is better over Majesty in this particular build, because we're only playing 1 Blue Eyes vanilla, so it's only going to pop 1 card regardless. And what we do on the opponent's turn is typically activate Ultimate Fusion, then True Light to bring back a Blue Eyes, and then in the same chain we get to pop a card with Ultimate Fusion, which is non-targeting destruction. I think it's important to play 2 Blue Eye spells so that your Wishes isn't dead if you draw one of these. Yeah. And the last 2 bricks, which is additional to this build, which is not typically seen in Blue Eyes, is what makes it more like a Dragon Link kind of deck. We play 1 Dragon Ravine and 1 Samsara Dragon. This is the package we used in the Tenpai video that we used last time, and it's got very similar applications here, where Samsara Dragon will enable us to float a dragon from deck by bringing back a Bystial and then tributing over seals. So yeah, that is for the engine parts of the main deck. Again, 50 cards so that we're not drawing our Samsara Dragons, Dragon Ravines, and any other Blue Eyes bricks. And then onto the non-engine, we have Free Veiler, which is almost like an archetypal hand trap in this because it's searchable off of all the Blue Eyes support. And our combos will normally end up searching one of these. We have Free Ash Blossom, really important to stop our opponent's mulch armies. But we can also make a half board in this particular deck, or any Blue Eyes variant, I suppose. Free Nibiru, really important hand trap this format. Free Talents, free Imperm, and 1 Call by the Grave. Yeah, so free Talents is fine because we're on the 50 card list, so we're less likely to draw 2 and say draw another Talents, which is then dead. And yeah, the Veiler is not so bad because you can normal summon it and then link it off for a Spirit to then enable a sealed play with any Bystial. You have to be careful with Imperm. You use it before you Bystial the opponent. Then onto the extra deck, we play a actually quite small synchro package, just 1 Disparter, which is of course going to be enabled with our Kaiser Seahorse play. We have our Blue Eyes Ultimate Spirit Dragon, which will be a negate on our end board, and 1 Spirit Dragon to summon it, and 1 Lightstorm Dragon, which hasn't come up for me so far too much in testing, but you can even hard make this to help break an opponent's board, which really makes up for us only playing 1 Spirit Dragon. But of course Spirit Dragon can also tag into Lightstorm Dragon. Then we have our links, which will be 2 seals. It's really important when we play 2 because over our Bystial plus Blue Eye starter combo we go through 2 of them, and we can even start shuffling these back with Regained if we ever start running low. 2 Spirit is also important for the combo, and we play 1 Romulus of course to search Dragon Ravine, and 1 Atum, which is a really key piece to help us extend our combo and really get a lot of value out of playing our Bystials. So 2 Bystials will make this and then float into any dragon from deck, which will normally be our Kaiser Seahorse. We then play the couple of fusions, which are Ultimate Dragon, Neo Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon and Blue Eyes Tyrant Dragon. We're normally not gonna just tribute off the Blue Eyes for its effect because we want to ideally use Ultimate Fusion to summon this. Unless of course you want to set traps and use its effects, you know, it's on a case-by-case basis. But Ultimate Dragon prevents targeting, which will namely be on our Spirit Dragon. Really important for dodging things like Mirror Logic Aggregator, that's being sent from X Ryziel. Yeah, and so yeah, just gives another layer of protection. And then for our generic extra deck, we have 1 Typhon and SP and Almirage. So Almirage is unusual. I put this in after dealing with a few different Floodgate decks, so you can link off like a Sage or any normal summonable level 1, and then make this to make an SP, and then SP will be able to banish anything, and so it gives another push going second as well. Say if you open entirely engine hands, then it gives an unusual, it gives it another push, instead of, because of course that Spirit Visor Blue link locks into dragons whilst it's face up. So SP push could perhaps come up. Typhon doesn't come up so much so far, but it could be really good for dealing with things like Ryziel Detonator. But yeah, the Almirage is probably cuttable if you're not seeing too many Floodgatey type decks. And you, so like I play it over Relinquish Anima because it plays around TC-Vu. Onto your side, we play 3 Lancia, of course, a staple against Malice. We play 3 Draw and Lockbird for things like Mitsurugi, Bystial, and Mermail, which has picked up in popularity, because of course our Bystials aren't going to do a very good job of hitting Mermail. We need to make sure that we have meaningful interaction with them going second. And we play Free Phantasme, which actually has Dragon Synergy with the deck. It lets us draw into more cards against things like Blue Eyes and Malice, and then perhaps draw into more Bystials. So we play basically half the main deck is, if you count the Bystials, half the main deck is going to be non-engine. And so it's really important to see that. And so we're going to be drawing to, and then perhaps even see things like Glacier if we're against Malice. And yeah, helps me push into like fixing the hand as well. You can use this if you draw 2 of them against something like Malice. They summon a link on your turn, so you can even play that as well and really fix your hand by drawing 4 cards and putting back 2. And I think it's worth playing this in this build, Dragon's Bind. You just have to be careful that they don't chain a Bystial to it. So I put this in against like Bystial and Malice, and it's been working really well in those matches. If you're in the Blue Eyes mirror, I wouldn't necessarily put this in, I think, because yeah, it's very easy to summon a Blue Eyes and then like attack over your card that you target. So Dragon's Bind, really good if you end on something like Seals or just a Bystial, say you get hand traps a lot. And then this will floodgate your opponent out of summoning anything that will let them combo. And then the last things last few one-offs I put in the side, it's going to be 1 Branded Beast, which is going to be important for spot removal in a matchup where they floodgate you. But I also like to put this in going first, because say if they let Harpy's Feather Duster your back row with Regained, then this will be a nice follow-up, because then it can reset, set up the Regained. And 1 Thrust, and 1 Duster, just so that we're not drawing multiple, you know, like Thrust or anything. Thrust is going to enable us our Blue Eyes combo, as well as searching things like Talents and Duster to help break boards. And so that is it for the deck profile. We'll go into some example combos now. So for our first combo, we're going to see what we can do with just 1 Bystial Lubellion, Sage Realizer Blue, and any random card to discard. So we're going to start off with our Bystial Lubellion, pitch it for our Magnum Hat. It's good to do this in this order, because if we get Drolled here, then we can still end on Seals by normal summoning Sage, linking off a Spirit, using Bystial Magnum Hat with the Spirit to make Seals. But we don't get Drolled here in this example, so we're just going to normal summon Sage, go ahead and use the effect, adding our Maiden from deck to hand. We're then going to link off Sage to make our Spirit Reviser Blue, which will then add us our Mausoleum field spell. And then we're going to use Maiden, discard it to set up True Light. From here we can use our Bystial Magnum Hat. It's important what we banish, so we're going to make sure to banish our Sage. This will come up later in the combo. And of course use Magnum Hat effect. And one of the really important things, and that makes Bystial Lubellion one of the best starters, is that we can then tribute off here for Magnum Hat into Lubellion, and then this will make our Lubellion summon 4. So we can set up some installation from Nibbed by starting with Lubellion. And so we're going to do just that. We're going to use it to set up Branded Regained. So if we get Nibbed at any point, we can still float into a Bystial from grave. So from here, what we're going to do is link these two off into our Romulus. Romulus will core search our Dragon Ravine. And after we've done this, we're going to then use the True Light to set up a Blue Eye spell trap from deck. We do it in this order because True Light getting Ghost Ogre here would destroy our board, and we've already gotten our Dragon Ravine from our Romulus here, so we made sure to make good use of the Dragon Bodies on our board. So this will set up Wishes, set up from our deck, and then we can straight away use the Wishes, discarding our random discard card, which will add our Roar and Effect Veiler from deck to hand. From here, we're going to use our Roar to go ahead and special summon the Blue Eyes, and of course this will trigger our Maiden in the graveyard to summon itself. And from here it's important not to forget we have Wishes for Eyes of Blue. We can banish this to give our Neo Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon as an equipped spell to Blue Eyes, and this will enable us to have some targeting protection on our Blue Eyes cards from now on. So from here, our opponent was likely, if they have Nibiru, they'll probably do it here because we're threatening a Seals play here. And so I'll go over a different line in this situation for if you get nibbed, but for now, we're going to link off these two into a Seals. And then we're going to use our Dragon Ravine here, discard a card. We actually do not require a Mausoleum of White in this particular combo, so we can go ahead and discard that to go ahead and send our Samsara Dragon to the grave. From here, what we're going to do is use our Samsara Dragon, banish it. This will add a Bystial from our deck, from our graveyard to our hand, and then we can immediately tribute summon. So we're going to use our nice tech of tributing Seals on our own turn to summon this Bystial Magnum Hut. Seals will then trigger to summon out a level 6 Bystial from the deck, whatever you might be missing. I'm going to just use Saranir for this example, but it could be like a Druid Worm if you want to float from Regained, for example. We're going to XYZ these into a Tomb. The Tomb will trigger to summon a Dragon from deck, and this will go ahead and summon our Neo Kaiser Seahorse. You can use your Bystial Saran here if you choose. And we actually have this really cool combo in this particular build where we can now use Neo Kaiser Seahorse to target the Maiden. This will trigger Maiden to go ahead and reborn our Blue Eyes. And what Neo Kaiser Seahorse does for its effect is it increases a monster's level by 1 or decreases its level by 1. So we're going to make our Maiden level 2. And now these levels are perfect for our Blue Eyes and our Maiden to go ahead and make our Bystial Disparter. Now from here, what we can do is use Disparter. Important is to summon our Sage with Eyes of Blue from our banished, which we banished earlier in particular. And we can link off our Neo Kaiser Seahorse into a Spirit of Eyes of Blue, second copy. Really important to place the second copy for this particular line. The Kaiser Seahorse can trigger if you want to send up a backup Maiden of White in case one gets banished later on by your opponent. And we can use our Spirit of Eyes of Blue, tribute it, to go ahead and summon back our Blue Eyes. And now, using this particular line, we've enabled our level 1 Tuner and Blue Eyes to be on our board. So we can go ahead and make a Blue Eye Spirit Dragon here. And even though we're going to now link off Disparter, we set up our Regained so we can easily come back whenever our opponent summons something. So we're going to link these two off for our Erratic Seals. And so second copy of Erratic Seals is in place. And this is pretty much our end board. And it seems quite unassuming at first. What we have on board is our Effect Veiler, our Erratic Seals play, and our Blue Eye Spirit Dragon, which can tag out into the Ultimate Spirit or Lightstorm Dragon to either negate our opponent's cards or destroy the back row. We also have True Light for follow-up, and importantly we have Regained. But we also have to account that we use Magnum Hut's effect. So in the end phase we get to search our Baldrake, which represents another 2 interruptions, because we get to use it to banish our opponent's Light or Dark. We get to draw a card by putting it back with Regained. And whilst Baldrake's on our field, we get to tribute one of our other Lights or Darks. Might be a Druid Worm that's summoned off Seals, and be able to banish one of the cards, and then the Druid Worm off the Seals can then send another card. So there's a lot of layered interruptions here. As well, our Regained can go ahead and reborn our Bystial Disparter, which represents another destroy by putting back our banished cards, or by using our opponent's banished cards we can go ahead and negate a monster effect. So many different interruptions just off 2 cards, and of course the Bystials are non-engine 2, so it's good to draw them first or second. And yeah, this is pretty much everything it gets you. It's really nice that it ends on a Veiler as well in hand, because yeah, it's just often too many interruptions for the opponent to push through. So, and there's a lot of different backup options, which we'll go through in a minute. Now for our next combo, we're going to see what we can do with a not very favourable Bystial to start with, like Baldrake, a different blue eye starter, which would be Wishes for Eyes of Blue, and a random discard. The starting with Wishes will functionally just make it so our end board uses Ultimate Fusion instead of Veiler, so pretty much all the blue eye starters do the same thing in terms of getting to our end board. But yeah, we'll start off with our Wishes, of course, to discard our random card, and this will add our Sage and our Roar from deck to hand. From here, we're going to use our Sage normal summon, go ahead and grab Maiden, and we'll link off our Sage for our Spirit to get our Mausoleum, and we'll go ahead and use Maiden to set up our True Light. From here, what we can do is Baldrake, importantly banish our Sage again to summon itself, and then we use our Dragon Bodies to make our Romulus. We'll go ahead and set up our Dragon Ravine, and then we'll use Roar to summon our Blue Eyes White Dragon, which will of course trigger our Maiden just like last time to summon itself out. We'll then use our Wishes to equip it with our Neo Blue Eyes, and we'll link off our Dragon Bodies into our Seals. Just like last time, we don't need the Mausoleum of White necessarily, so we'll discard it with our Dragon Ravine to go ahead and send our Samsara Dragon to grave. And just like last time, we're going to use Samsara Dragon, banish it to go ahead and bring back our Baldrake and tribute summon it over our Seals, and Seals will float. And importantly, we didn't get our Lubellion in rotation yet, so what we're going to summon, we're going to summon our Saronir, and Saronir is going to be the key to how we get to Lubellion. So we're going to then exceed these two into our Tomb, of course, and our Tomb can detach to summon our Neo Kaiser Seahorse, and then Saronir will trigger to send our Lubellion. So we're going to get round to summoning Lubellion, albeit over 5 summons, but still it's better to have it than not. From here we can use our Neo Kaiser Seahorse just like last time, make Maiden at level 2, and since we targeted Maiden, we can use its effect to summon out our Blue Eyes White Dragon. Yeah, and not going to stick around for long because we have a level 2 tuner and a level 8 dragon. We're going to use those for our Disparter. Disparter will reborn our Sage that we banished earlier. And we can go ahead and make Neo Kaiser Seahorse into a second Spirit. Neo Kaiser Seahorse can send our second Maiden for follow-up, or if you choose to play Blue Eyes Jet Dragon, this is an opportunity to play to set that, send that to grave with our combo. But I opted to not play Jet Dragon because I wanted to reduce the number of bricks, but up to you. So we can tribute Spirit here for our Blue Eyes from grave, using its effects, and make these two into our Blue Eye Spirit Dragon. From here, importantly, we do actually have a level 6 or higher Dark Dragon, so we can tribute Disparter now that it's used its effect to set up our Bystial Lubellion, and this is how we get to our Branded Regained from our deck. Now we're going to link off these two for our second Seals, and we mustn't forget as well that we have True Light still, which can set a Blue Eye Spell Trap, and that is how we set our Ultimate Fusion up. And so instead of Veiler, we get our Ultimate Fusion because of our Wishes starter. And we do it like this, so that we set up Spirit Dragon first, in case our opponent Ghost Ogre's True Light. We can negate its effect to destroy our board with our Spirit Dragon. So from here we have a similar end board. We didn't get the Magna Hut Search because we didn't start with Lubellion like last time, but we do have our Seal still, our Spirit, our True Light, which can, in combination with our Ultimate Fusion, go ahead and, so we can chain link 1 Ultimate Fusion, chain it to True Light to reborn a Blue Eyes, and then we can shuffle back the Blue Eyes into our deck to go ahead and make our Blue Eyes Tyrant Dragon and pop a card. in the same chain. We also have our Disparter engraved, which can be revived off our Brand of Regain once our opponent summons, and it has an effect to negate if our opponent banishes, has a banish card, or to pop if we do, which we do. Yeah, so of course Spirit Dragon can opt into our Ultimate Spirit Dragon, and I like to do this after we start interacting in the main phase, because then Talents is live and we want to negate Talents and Frost with our Spirit Dragon. So yeah, that's pretty much what we got. Even though we started with a not very favourable Bystial, we still managed to pivot thanks to our Samsara Dragon and our Seal Floats to get into pretty much the same combo as last time, but pivoting in a different direction. Now you might be wondering what we do if we get nibbed. So I rewound to this kind of like vulnerable spot where we can see that we just summoned Blue Eyes White Dragon off our Raw and used Maiden to revive itself. And we have Romulus on field and just search the Dragon Ravine. So our opponent might think like, oh, we're going to make Seals here, which would get a float if distributed with Nib. So they'll normally, 90% of the time when we're doing this combo, Nib here. And so it's important to like know and to pivot our combo in the situations where we get hit by different hand traps. So let's say we get nibbed, then all these are going to go. And so we get our nib token. Yeah, we'll sort of represent this. And well, we need one or two different extenders. So say we start with Lubellion, then we have Regain set up. And so we can use the Regain to reborn a Bystial, or if we have a second Bystial in hand, we can use that to extend as well. So say, yeah, we have Drew Swim in hand. Like we don't have the Regain, for example. Either's fine. So Drew Swim, summon itself by banishing anything from grave. That's not important. Like a Baldrake we might have used earlier. Then we can use our Dragon Ravine because we haven't used its effect yet. Go ahead and discard our Mausoleum or any random discard. So send our Samsara Dragon's grave. We'll then use the Samsara Dragon, banishing it, to go ahead and add our other Bystial from graveyard to hand. We'll tribute then with a Nib token thanks to Samsara Dragon's tribute effect. And now we have 2 level 6 dragons, so we can actually pivot into an Attuned line. And Attune here will go ahead and summon instead something like a Bystial Magnum Hut, which will give us more power to our end board. So yeah, we can then, like for example with yeah, you know, we can set up our Regained if we haven't already by sending a Saranair. And then we go ahead and make our second copy of Seals. And in the end phase, we go ahead and search our Baldrake, and we can still play our kind of Bystial control game, where we rely on things like Regain, Seal, and our search Bystial to play the long game. So yeah, it's a really good way that Samsara Dragon helps us pivot when we get hand trapped, as well as executing our full combo. Now for our last combo, we're going to see what we can do with just a pure Bystial hand and see how we can combo into our Blue Eyes cards with this. So I recommend doing this kind of combo if you're against a matchup that doesn't really care about Bystial interruptions. Otherwise you can just keep the Bystials in hand and play Bystial control, pretty much. But yeah, this is a hand of Baldrake, Saranair, and Lubellion. If you're in a matchup against something like Mermail, then you can definitely do this combo because they don't care about their lights and darks being banished. You'd much rather set up removal for things like their normal summon of Nectabis. So yeah, you can substitute any card in this hand for something like Veiler, pretty much, because you can normal summon Veiler and that gets you it linked off to get a light or dark engrave. Yeah, so of course we're going to start off with our Lubellion discard. That will add our Magnum Hut, and Magnum Hut will banish the Lubellion. We'll use the Magnum Hut on field effect, of course. And from here we'll tribute summon our Saranair. Next we have our Baldrake to use, banishing the Magnum Hut. And here is how we bridge into the Blue Eyes. We're going to make our Horizon Dragon King of the Tomb, and then detach the Saranair to summon any dragon from deck, which will of course be our Kaiser Seahorse. And yeah, so we still have a random discard in hand. We have Saranair, which will activate, sending our Bystial Lubellion. And if you've seen the Neo Kaiser Seahorse 1-card combo, this is pretty much what we're going to do from here on in. We're going to link off our Kaiser Seahorse into Spirit. That will trigger Spirit and Neo Kaiser Seahorse, which to summon send our Maiden and add our Mausoleum of White. Here we're actually going to use Mausoleum of White for our combo. We're going to activate it, target wherever you like, to send a Blue Eyes White Dragon from deck's grave from Mausoleum, and use our Spirit, tribute itself, reborn the Blue Eyes, and that will trigger our Maiden to reborn itself. And this is how we get access to True Light, because we can use Maidens on field or in hand effect to activate True Light from deck by sending it to grave. From here, it depends if you want to get greedy with another card in hand to discard, but we can go ahead and set our Wishes for Rise of Blue and activate it by discarding our random discard in hand. You can add Sage and add Ultimate Fusion, and here we can keep in mind that we have an extra normal summon thanks to Mausoleum, which will be able to summon our Sage. We'll do that now, and this will add us a Veiler to our end board. Of course, we can use Wish as well to equip a Neo Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, which is targeting protection for our Blue Eyes White Dragon. And from here, we can go ahead and make a Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon as part of our own board. Alternatively, instead of Ultimate Fusion, you can add Raw if you want to then link off the Harassed Dragon King to make a Seals if you think that's more important. But oftentimes it's nice to have a tomb as part of a follow-up strategy. So on the opponent's side, we can set the Ultimate Fusion, do our True Light Ultimate Fusion combo to pop a card. The Spirit Dragon can substitute into our Ultimate Spirit for a Negate or Lightstorm Dragon to pop cards. We have Veiler, and of course we have a Baldrake that will be searched off the Magnum Hut. So a lot more interruptions than just 3 Bystials, depending if you want to risk a combo into a certain matchup. So yeah, and it's good in the grind game to be able to pivot both engines into each other as well. But yeah, that is pretty much it for the combos around this deck. And yeah, I hope you gained some insight into how the deck works, and maybe you want to try this out for locals yourself if you really love Bystials like I do, and the Blue Eyes cards, of course. Then you can definitely try us at locals if you already have the Bystials and it's a bit more budget than Primite. Yeah, and so like a really fun version of the deck, playing Bystial control at times, and full comboing into like a really tough end board to crack is always really fun. So yeah, please let me know your thoughts on the deck, and if you try us out, let me know how you get on with testing, and if there's any improvements you'd like to make, like maybe putting the Blue Eyes Jet Dragon. Let me know if you think it's like a brick. Yeah, things like that. Let me know. Yeah, and yeah, let's see how you get on. Thanks, bye.